I want to apologize because it has been a month since my last video. If you've not watched that one, you can go ahead and watch that one if you want to. So if you do not already know, I am deeply passionate for music. I own a lot of vinyls. I know how to play a lot of instruments. I have basically dedicated my life into learning music and collecting as much vinyl records as I can for a few years now. Now, even though I am primarily into rock and metal music, there is one specific genre of music that always serenades my ears. Liminal space music. Now, there are some phenomenal albums that came out of liminal space music. I'm not a monster and I'm not greedy for an extra view, so here are all the ones that I said in the last video. But I have a lot more in this video, so I will go ahead and, get to the video. You can like and subscribe. I talk about a lot of different liminal, topics and nostalgia stuff, aesthetics, all the stuff. With tracks like They're Hiding in Plain Sight, Can't You See, and Wish You Were Here. Wait, Wish You Were Here? I've been waiting to do that joke for like a month now whenever I thought of the concept for this video for the first time. I mean, even the cover for this album looks sick. I mean, look at this. Now, the same artist did make, like, DREAMCORE OST, and you know me, I prefer DREAMCORE over WeirdCore, but I just prefer this one any day of the week. I don't know how. I know this song is a minute, but it, unironically goes hard, I'm gonna admit. Now, I know that this album is only 26 minutes long, but there are some worse albums you could be listening to right now that's 26 minutes. Yeah, I prefer this over Father of All by Green Day any day of the week. Even the Green Days. What makes this album so good, you ask? The atmospheric stuff is what puts it on here, especially it feels and sounds so nostalgic, especially whenever you imagine you roaming inside of the album cover. It hits hard, man. And it also perfectly captures you in an immersive experience with a weirdcore. It's amazing. Now, every year they have uploaded, one of those OSTs since 2021, Weirdcore OST being their magnum opus. But I really hope to, see another one, and I might even do, a Fantano rating on it, with actually good music taste, though. This is the 9/11 of hip-hop reviews, rightfully said. Now, the creator of this project has been in the game for a while. 2010? Dang, that's crazy. But yeah, this is a really nice and sweet album. I do fully recommend it, and we can go ahead and move on to the next one. So if you're not into sacrilegious or graphic topics, you can go ahead and skip to this timestamp. But this is a really controversial and sacrilegious opinion right here. Because the band who made it, Burzum, well, it's not a band, it's pretty much just a one singular person, it's their solo project. His name is Varg Vikernes, and he was a member of this band called Mayhem, which is a true Norwegian black metal band. And if you do not know some of the graphic stuff that went down in the true Norwegian black metal scene, don't search it up, trust me, it's some crazy stuff. Literally, the stuff that went down is so horrible that it got its own movie and novel dedicated to it. It's called Lords of Chaos if you want to read it, but with heavy, disclaimers. Now, I specifically chose this Burzum album, okay? Now, even though most of it just sounds like... There is one specific song on here that is 25 minutes long, and it is amazing, okay? The song is called Rungang Die Transcendale Sol der Singularitat. Yes, I'm not going to do that stereotypical thing where they just say, I don't know how to pronounce this. I tried my best, okay? I won't play it because it'll probably get me copyrighted. But just think the 80s vibes. That's what it gives me personally. It can be subjective. I even added it to my Liminal Space playlist. It's just so different from the rest of the album. It's just suddenly just... Then it just goes into this amazing 25-minute long, phenomenal stuff. No, don't be saying, "Oh, why'd you add this because of only one great song?" Okay, in my defense, that is a 25-minute song, okay? Don't forget the last one that we talked about. That one's 26 minutes, like, literally. Now, every single Liminal Space album I say in these videos, I always try to find if there's a vinyl variation of them. Some are very expensive, including Filosofem. Varg, you greedy, greedy man. Please don't talk about me in your car with a bucket over your head. But anyways, enough of that. We can go ahead and move on to the next one. Alright, to start off, that is probably one of the best album covers I've ever seen. It kind of goes hard, I'm not gonna lie. This is also one of the first, Liminal Space albums that I have ever, listened to before. It kind of gives me Everywhere at the End of Time vibes, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the most popular and, in my opinion, best song on here is Overpopulation at the End of Everything is Less Than a Worry, haha, Letter to You from Mother 3. Whew, absolute handful, I'm not gonna lie. To add on to it, every song on here is so long, and it's just a plain and simple 23 minutes. If you want to look for a short Liminal Space album, this is probably the perfect thing for you. This guy has 5 albums, his first one being in 2020. It seems like he hasn't made an album in about 3 years, so let's hope he's, feeling good, I guess. Also, this is a pretty good debut album, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly don't have much more to say about this album. This wasn't even on the roster of my favorite ones originally. I just added this last minute basically. But yeah, we can go ahead and go on to the next one. Remember Earth 2 from the last video? This is technically what that album is, but it has, less time. Now this album was made by, American drone metal band Sun. But it looks like Sunno Trust. Also, the song It Took the Night to Believe has a really simple but effective riff. I'm not going to play it because I'll get copyrighted. Here's a cover of it. Cover done by me, of course. It also has, some of their most popular tracks, including Serenana, It Took the Night to Believe, Orthodox Caveman, etc. Plus, the name of the tracks go really hard. Like Orthodox Caveman, oh my gosh, that is such a hard title. And I really like the atmospheric and, overall eeriness. That's what I expect from, a droney Liminal Space album. Or, as my music class likes to call it, an organum. I might make a part 3 about the best Liminal Space albums and expect another drone record to be on there, okay? The cover is also pretty intimidating. What is this? While listening to the tracks, I could be staring for full-on minutes trying to comprehend what that is. I kind of like it. It sort of gives me Burzum vibes, without all the Satanism, of course. Now, this album turns 20 in October 17, so whenever October 17th hits, please spam the comments with Happy Birthday, Black One, okay? It's the least you could do for these boomers. This is also a pretty popular album in the drone metal community. Now, most of y'all watching probably don't like the album as much because it's not DREAMCORE OST where it's a little bit faster and this is just really slow music. But I personally like it. People have opinions, alright? Anyways, we can go ahead and go on to the next one. Please go listen to Spaghettification. That's a weird way to start off this segment, but please, trust me. The artist is peculiar to say the least. Their Spotify bio is literally, "Thank you, God, for everything." Listen, I'm Christian and all, but the why? I wanted to learn more about this artist. This rage baited me more than the Keeping It Wheezy thing that Weezer posted. Now, I know Ozzy Osbourne did the same, but everybody knows who Ozzy Osbourne is, so he gets the pass. But in the span of 2 years, they uploaded this many albums. They haven't made one since 2023, sadly. They even made an album where they remix, Christmas carols, I think. Alright, enough of the artist. We can talk about what makes this album so good. First of all, this is a sick album cover, and out of curiosity, I'm going to saturate it a little bit more to see how it looks. Oh man, this is pretty awkward to say that I thought I'd see more stars in the background if I brightened it up. It's one of those, atmospheric albums that I really like to see in a liminal space album. And it also sort of resembles sci-fi, atmospheric horror, which I can see the, influence for. Now, I fully recommend this album if you enjoy all that atmospheric stuff, especially the last one that we talked about. So, yeah. I also found this album really funny because, this artist now does sort of religious stuff, it looks like, based on their art style. And then it's literally just sci-fi stuff. I just find that kind of hilarious. Now, are you tired about all of the atmospheric albums that I have talked to in this part? Well, too bad, because the next one we're about to talk to is even more atmospheric. Okay, I'm gonna be real with you. I did not care about this album as much at first. Until I went to Vegas, of course. Now, on the way there, we had to go through Arizona and all those places, so it was very deserty. So, yeah, that was really far away from my home, so I had to listen to music on the way most of the time. So, guess what I did? I found this album and decided to take a listen. And I waited until the right conditions in the middle of the desert to listen to this album, and it did not disappoint at all. I see what aesthetic they were going for in this album, and boy did they, make something really good. Now, this artist did go on a hiatus back in 2022, but they released an album pretty recently. Now, the newest album that they released in 2025 of this year, that aforementioned album, well, it does kind of give me Desert Vision vibes, which is really good. The album cover also goes pretty hard. It's aesthetically pleasing. Well, it's one of those segments where I talk for a minute and a half because I don't really have much more to say about this album. I did intend this to be on my roster, unlike, Atlantis Part 2. So, yeah, there's that. Now, I might try to make as much parts as I can. This is the outro, by the way, if you wanted to know, for, the best liminal space albums. Because the last time I tried to make a series as long as I can, yeah, that did not go so well. It wasn't a bad series. In fact, it did pretty good for itself. I just couldn't think of any other cores to talk about. I know there's sub-aesthetics, but really, let's be honest, I could barely find any on the wiki. And what about the, not so popular aesthetics, the little single-paged aesthetics? Yeah, there's barely any information about that, so the video that I would make about it would be so short. But I will try to think of some more liminal space albums that are true peak, and I might even make another video about it. No, I will, probably. But it might take about a month like it did for the last part that I made, so just keep that in mind, because I'm working on lots of other videos and projects, okay? I just want to, yeah. If you're new to the channel and you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing, because I make many other videos like this, including Let's Plays with, very silent commentary, so yeah. Just wanted to go ahead and say that for the people who are new. And you can go ahead and like and subscribe. Yes, I'm talking as an excuse to make this longer than the last part. I'm going to make it 13 minutes and 54 seconds. Goodbye.